Okay. We're going to play Fear the Light, which is originally based on a episode of Worldbuild with us, a podcast where we build fantastical worlds with help from you, our listeners. This game is played in 2 acts, and the 2 acts are called A Game of Pharaoh, and the second part is called The Showdown at High Noon. The world of Fear the Light is sometime in a distant American future, where the eastern seaboard has been set up as the only refuge of civilization left. It's the only place that has power in the world. But the power of the eastern seaboard is derived from the middle country, and the middle country is being sucked dry because we've discovered a resource called red tar. We've cracked into the earth to extract that red tar. But you folk, you guys are from the middle country, and you look onto the eastern seaboard with disdain because they're sucking you dry. The middle country is hot and dusty. It's full of tumbleweeds and the ash of the red tar, which falls down upon the middle country and poisons the land. What you have decided is, since you're a bunch of working class folk, you're looking for a man who works for the PRISM Company. And the PRISM Company is that company which makes the eastern seaboard work. They're the ones extracting all the red tar and keeping the eastern seaboard working. And this man is called a 10-cent man. He's betrayed the middle country. He's responsible for so many ills in your lives, personally and individually. Now, you've tracked this 10-cent man somewhere far west to a place called the Blood Bucket Tavern in Border Town. You've traveled for some time together as company yourselves. Now, you ain't never seen a 10-cent man's face, but you heard tales of him. And you know he's a turncoat, and you know he's betrayed your people. And that's all I know about him, because you guys are going to build the 10-cent man as part of the Game of Pharaoh. You all have your reasons for being here, but I believe the Sin Buster down in that corner there, he's had someone taken from him. And so that's one of the reasons why he's here, is to get that person back. The other thing you know is in Border Town, this prospector has staked a claim to one of the pits. Now, these pits, it's like back in the old times when they were searching for gold, except nowadays, the gold is the red tar, and they've been mining for this red tar. So in Border Town, there's such a pit. There's a prospector in town who's staked a claim. Other than that, you've heard word of strange happenings in town. Green firelight at night, rumors of PRISM Company walking about, miners disappearing. And what's interesting about this whole time period is that with the advent of the red tar falling, it's dangerous to go about in daylight. There's things that get a hold of you. It's safer to travel at night. So this dusty nowhere town, much like Deltona in Florida, it's got no resources. All the teenagers are here and they're just gang members. Everyone's dying. Border Town's supported by a group of miners who the prospectors hired to do the work near one of these pits. It only has a few places. It's got a church, it's got a schoolyard, it's got the Blood Bucket Tavern. This place is so far and so desolate, you're tired, you've tied up your horses, but you found a little bit of refuge and hope that maybe inside there's some information to be found. You're all sitting now around this poker table. It's hot in here, even inside, even when you're out of the sun. Now, sitting at this table, there's a number of colorful gentlemen. We've got an old doctor, maybe 75, doctor's bag at his side. An old prospector, scraggly beard covered in dust and tar, a gallant hat on his head, a grim look in his eyes. A gunslinger, her cowboy hat tipped low and dark, she has long curly hair, pretty but dangerous. Saloon girl off to the side, she ain't playing, but you're not sure if she has the smarts to do it. But then again, maybe that's a facade. She's got a little tiny hat on her head. The bartender's behind the bar, passing swill to everyone who'll drink it, and he's a little prim and proper. His gray hair says he's seen things. And then the school marm, also at the table with you. Massive woman. Someone you don't want to mess with. You see to the side of her table there's clearly a shotgun. She has some kind of emblem of religious import on her chest or massive bosom, where her habit is. But she has the cards in her hands, and she's ready to play. How do you all know each other before we enter this room?
I'll go first.
I need a D12.
8.
So you know David's character. Your bond with him is the oath. Either they or you saved their life and came to your aid when you had nothing. Now you're beholden to them out of honor, guilt, devotion, or admiration. David, I want a D4.
D4. Okay. 3.
3, that would be Matt's character. You're both hunted or persecuted by the same people, and you guys may be the only survivors of a calamity you weren't supposed to survive. Matt, a D4, please.
4.
4. You know Autumn's character. So either she was your mentor or you were her mentor, and they trained you, or vice versa. The prospector leans back in his rickety chair, and putting his cards face down on the table, he leans forward to John's character, and he says, I ain't seen your folk around here. Who are you and why you come to the Blood Bucket?
The fuck's to you? You know, people wouldn't call out your ugly mug so much if you didn't fucking keep staring at people with them googly eyes.
You're a sassy woman. I like it.
Fucking better like it. Fucking not going anywhere. Fucking doing in his hand.
You here with this young fellow over here?
Fucking Pierre. Oh, fuck cocksucker. I don't mean it that way. Pierre, come here. Pierre, come here.
What
Talk
is
to this
it?
cocksucker for me. I'm fucking done with him.
Oh, you with your language. Oh, I don't think I will ever get used to it.
We don't get a lot of visitors here in the Blood Bucket Inn. You know, got new business, piss staking the claim, but what are you guys doing here?
You know, we are just traveling, doing our thing, doing our parts. Found her on the side of the road. She was yelling at some sort of snake that was trying to bite her. It was a sight, I can tell you that.
You're either blind or fucking dumb to not see these metallic implements on my arms that obviously make me a former miner. Fucking A.
You looking for work?
We're looking for something.
So give me a description in your interior, first person point of view.
Fucking drunk donkey. Fucking can't pull it together. I fucking keep that cocksucker 10-cent dime a dozen piece of shit. Fucking kick his ass after this drink.
Now, Martha Canary was quite a woman. If she had to describe herself with a couple adjectives, these are the ones she'd use.
Brute, mushy, fucking ass-kicking, goddamn fucking waste of a time, falling in creeks, son of a fuck.
She was a muddy woman. She dressed rugged. She had things to do, but she got them done. The large schoolmarm looks over to you, and she says, Now, I'm not so sure why you folk have decided to come to the Blood Bucket Tavern, but I think you're respectable, and I'm interested to know what you hope to gain in such a distant locale.
Gracias, senora. We are here looking for some help. There's a man that we're interested in finding, and we were told he might be around these parts.
A lot of men come through here, mostly illiterate, and it is my duty to make sure that they learn how to read and write. And unfortunately, the rates of my success are limited. What sort of man are you looking for?
Bueno, a woman after my own heart. I too serve the poor and needy and ensure that anywhere I go, I can help as much as I can. Please do let me know if I can be of service.
See, on your breast there is a sheriff's star. Are you some sort of lawman?
As much as there's a law out here.
Border Town is a place much in need of order.
Hola, me llamo Manzanita Cruz. And every day I wake up and I say to myself, Manzanita, get yourself together. You must be the representation for those who cannot represent themselves, because it is all you have left. You have lost your dignity and you must gain it back, Manzanita. You must! I'm so tired. So tired, but there's no time for rest. I must put on my black clothes and I must walk out the door. I must keep myself clean and I must get my mission done.
Manzanita was born to do certain things, and she had a plan. Whether it would come to fruition will be a matter of her determination, but even from when she was a little girl, she wanted to finish the job. Now she's here. So, Pierre, you feel a feather on your neck, And the saloon girl leans in. She says, "Now, darling, you've got some nice dewy skin I hadn't seen before. Now, that woman over there you're with, I don't know what caliber she is, but she seems like something else. Tell me now, why are you here?"
Well, I am actually looking for someone. I don't think it is someone of your caliber. Definitely not of someone of your ilk.
Now, Mr. Prospector, I would like a seat at this table because I'm going to take this gentleman's money. Prospector says, "Get the gentle lady a seat so she could lose all her hard-earned winnings." And then she takes a seat at the table.
I expect to take all of her hard-earned earnings. Yes, I do. Yes.
Pierre, you're looking in a mirror in your interior. What do you say? Describe yourself.
My hair is always a mess. My hat, it's old, it's leathery, it's oily. Though the only thing I have going for me is my good looks. I mean...
Gentleman known as Pierre, he had a certain flair to him. His rugged good looks, he said, was the way he got along. Whether that was a matter of opinion was something to be seen, but out here, there's not a whole lot of good looks. From the bar, a glass of whiskey is served from behind you and placed in front of you. And the bartender leans down, and he says to you, Matt, "It's interesting to see a group of your type here, considering that it is several hundred miles to the closest way station. I'm curious what you all hope to accomplish and why you would bring a lawman to such a distance."
What is the law in these parts?
That is a curious question to be asked, I admit. I think the law here is a matter of the quality of swill and the grit between one's boots. Wouldn't you agree?
Agreed.
Tell me, you seem to be a man of few words. Suppose you take these winnings with my fellow gentleman here. What would you do and where would you go?
Well, I'll let my actions do the talking.
You're looking in this mirror in your head. How would you describe yourself?
Hardened, rugged, kind of like a loner, soft-spoken, quiet, reserved. I don't need no people. I get things done. I move around. I'm a woman of action, and don't need nobody.
Cheyenne, she was a lone wolf. She dressed light and she traveled light. Nobody saw her coming. The prospector leans in and he says, "Well now, gentlemen, it's time to ante up and start the bids. It's 10 gold on the table."
Here's your 10 fucking cocksucking gold.
Martha's in for 10.
Count me in as well.
I am in, of course. I am always in. I mean, I can never pass up a game.
Pierre's in for 10. What about Cheyenne?
Just tap the table.
I always like separating strangers from their coin.
That'll be 16.
16 is the leading number here. Pierre, what do you have?
Yeah, I rolled a 2 plus 5, that's 7.
So 7 still.
Ay Dios, only a 5. Games are never my strong suit.
As you take in 100 golds, Martha, the prospector says, "I knew you was all woman." So that was the first round of this game. Now, the second round, we need to figure out what's your beef with a 10-cent man. The gunslinger, who's been quiet so far, like looking down under her hat, she leans forward. She says, "All yous guys seem to have a grudge with this 10-cent man. I need to know what that's about. I want to know. Grudges, they keep me happy. They keep me working." Now I want you to roll a d6.
5.
5. Okay, so in addition to telling me about why you're after the 10-cent man, you get to decide about him, because we're going to build him, a treachery he has committed.
1.
1. It's distinctive attire, flourish, or social tick. Now, you've never seen his face, but you may have seen him or her, like, in totality.
4.
4. A secret strength or power the 10-cent man has. So the gunslinger leans into you and she says, "I spend my life hunting down the men who won't follow the rules. This 10-cent man, he interests me, and I'm curious why you're after him." And she's looking at you, Martha Cannery.
Martha kind of like leans in, swaying. "I'll tell you why I want this motherfucker. He owes me money, he owes me liquor, and he owes me my dead friends back."
"Dead friends, you say? Do you shoot someone down the street, cold blood?
Wish he shot him. I would have pounded his face and he shot him. Like, if I ever got to see that motherfucker, I swear to God, I would fucking kill him. Cocksucker!
Who are these friends you shot down? Were they close to you?
You didn't shoot him. You buried him. And the booze.
Did you bury him alive?
My good friend Charlie Utter, best Tarth out there, had his own distillation. Just off the side of the red mine. Just offside. Red tar. Red tar is fine. We're pulling fucking red tar. I'll give you red tar. I got it coming out of my pits. I got it coming out of my eye. I'll give you fucking red tar. But no. You had to cave the whole thing in on him just to save one little batch. Because he thought the still was gonna blow.
Now are you saying to me you used to work with this man?
I don't fucking work with him. I don't fucking, he paid me. In fact, he didn't pay me. That's the other thing. Owes me money. Fuck!
Well now, Martha Cannery. Looks like you got a chance to earn your money back.
Fucking bet your fucking A I got fucking money back.
The doctor turns to you, Pierre, and he says, "The psychology of revenge is something I have always been interested in, and I would like to know from you why you would go to such great lengths to travel hundreds of miles in pursuit of a single man. What is it that this 10-cent man has in the deep psychosis of your mind, if I might ask you?"
It is more than just something within my own mind. You see, he sold me a bad investment that then he came back after it failed to claim his, his portion of profit. But since the investment went bad, he took my daughter instead.
How young is your daughter?
She's only 10.
Only 10 years old. Very impressionable age. How long ago did this happen to you, Mr. Pierre?
It was about a month's time ago.
1 month. In 1 month, I wonder what such a 10-cent man could accomplish with such an impressionable mind.
That is what I need to find out, and that is why I need to stop him. He sold me a bad investment, and then he cheated me out of my own family.
It would seem that those invested in the eastern seaboard are betting on the future of the middle country, but it is unfortunate that this happened to you.
It'll be much more unfortunate when I meet up with him. It was easy for me to track someone as elusive as him because it is hard to not spot a red handkerchief tucked into the coat of a white suit, monogrammed with a 10-cent coin.
The bartender takes a seat beside you, Cheyenne, and he leans into you and he says, "Now I am certainly curious for a young woman such as yourself, why you would decide to take up with these folk and hunt down gentlemen of ill repute from the PRISM Company when there are so many other things to be doing with your talents."
I got no use for people, but he killed my dog. A woman only needs her dog. A good dog by her side.
Did you substitute perhaps this animal companion with Lady Manzanita here and traveling with her?
I guess maybe I did.
I suppose we make strange choices, Cheyenne. And were you to find the 10-cent man, what exactly would you do with him?
Ruin him.
Saloon girl. She has her legs crossed, she's leaning back in her chair, and has her cards, but some of them are upside down and facing outwards. So she's leaning back to you, Manzanita, and she says, "Now come on, darling, if someone of your talents with such knowledge of the law, we could hitch up on a horse over here and head out of the border town forever, and I bet we could make some good business together, enterprising young women like ourselves. What's your beef with this 10-cent man?"
I do not think that is a very good idea. Este cabrón, he's a liar. He lies, and he makes people do things for them. He says I have done things. I have never done these things. I would never do any terrible things. But he says that I've done them, and he's going to tell people that I've done them. And I have never done them. I promise I have never done them. He has this His way of speaking, he's like a snake. He makes people do things.
So you saying that this man's tarnishing your good name?
Something like that, yes. Tarnish, that's the word for it.
Now, Manzanita, my sweet dear, our reputations are the only thing in this world that we have to protect. And I think that's a worthy cause if I ever heard one. Well, the prospector leans forward, listening to all this conversation. He says, well now, kids, it's time to ante up. Pool's up to 50 gold this time. Which one of you is not yellow? Willing to bet it up.
Fucking take your fucking 50 gold. Take the fucking 500 gold from all you fucking cocksuckers.
As I said before, I never turned down a game of Pharaoh, and he tosses his 50.
Silently throw a 50 on the table.
I don't very much carry money, but if I could make this money go further, I will. And she tosses in 50.
I got a 17, kids.
God damn it.
It's the bartender who got that 17. He gave you all like a shot on the table.
3 total.
It's an 8.
10.
She also got a 10, and she's going to slide her shot over to Martha.
The school marm nods in approval when you slide the drink away from yourself. He says, I always said that Jesus and alcohol do not mix. In this last round, this is a duel of wits, where you guys can ask questions of the NPCs you see depicted on the screen.
How about you arm wrestle me? Right now.
What do we arm wrestling over, if I might ask?
Fucking 50 gold.
For 50 gold, I would elect a school mom in my place.
Oh, you really got another woolly slapping motherfucker. I'll fucking take you.
So the school mom gets over and she says, now, my dear, I am mostly a school teacher, but I have been known to bench press my weight, and I imagine this might not be going well for you. She puts her beefy arm, it slides out of her habit here now. All right, so we're gonna do a contested mighty check real quick.
All right, let's go.
It's a 10.
I would like to use a fate point to explode my die. All right, so it's 12 now. Yeah.
So there's like a moment when the school marm is pushing her arm down, and there's like a bead of sweat underneath the school marm's habit. But then at the last second, when she's an inch from the ground, Martha slams her hand back. It is rare that I find a student worthy of my skill, but you have met it. Let's go down to the questions here. Pierre, who do you want to speak to?
The doctor. So you say you're a doctor. I am assuming of psychology, because you keep mentioning that of the mind.
I am indeed the doctor of the psychology. I am a practiced alienist. Matters of the mind you see here in Borderland and elsewhere. As a result of the radiation here in our middle country, many minds have been affected, and it is only a matter of psychology to solve these issues in their minds.
Interesting. And may I ask where it is you got your training from? Was it here, or was it at the Eastern Coast?
I did indeed train with very eminent doctors here on the eastern seaboard, and then I returned to the middle country to bring my education to the people.
I would like to shake a fellow learned man of the mental arts hand.
I would be welcome.
So would I be able to use false sensory input on him when I go to shake his hand?
9, you got it. All right, so you stuck him in such a way that the needle is so thin he wouldn't have noticed. So you have control of his senses then.
I'm gonna give him the false sensory input that the prospector is actually cheating him. You seem to be so inclined to have us drop a quest into the 10-cent man. What is it that you know of him? Like, what is your dealing with this 10-cent man?
I am not saying that I have any association in particular with this sense man as you describe him, but I would say that ever since my arrival here in the border town, in the PRISM Company, and their setup here on the borders in the Dead Man Butte, where they are mining the red tar, they are promising to us the possibility of improved lifestyle with increased wages. And so they have taken a number of our people to work in the mines albeit cases that many of them have not come back alive. But that is to be expected in capitalism. That is how it works.
And while he's saying this, I'm also shifting my eyes back and forth between him and the prospector.
He's saying, Mr. Prospector, sir, I did not help but notice that you have taken from your sleeve an additional card, which I believe is against the rules. And the prospector looks at him and, like, puts his cigar into the ashtray and he says, I don't know what you're on about, Doctor, but you sound to me real dumb. And if you say some more dumb things, I'm gonna have to take action. And the doctor's like, well, now, I was accusing you of cheating per se, but if perhaps you had extra cards in your sleeve and they fell out into your hand, that would not be an acceptable play. What did you say? And the prospector says, nah, that sounds like something dumb you're saying. And I'm gonna have to have you close your mouth. Because if you don't close your mouth, something's gonna go in that mouth, and you're not gonna like that. And the doctor's like, well, I mean, I was just saying that I noticed it, but I could be mistaken. You see, I am not saying that I saw it per se. It could be a figment of my imagination. And so there's a little bit of exchange there. It is clear that the prospector has intimidated him into silence. And he, in fact, chooses to fold on this turn. What that will do for you is it's going to impose a -2 on their overall roll in this final bid. Cheyenne.
Yeah, I'm going to turn to the gunslinger. We live by a code, no kids. You ever seen a man take kids into the mine?
That code that we all grew up with. I know what you're talking about. If there's anything that could keep the middle country together, it's the hope that we all believe in something, right? I ain't never seen anyone go into the mine of underage, but one thing I can tell you is that when I was out in the fields, the plains, I saw a little person wearing a gas mask and a little bit of PRISM gear, and they were no taller than 4 feet in height. What I saw is they went to go talk to them old people who live out there in the plains, who worship them old gods. And I don't know what that was about, but they were accompanied by some PRISM gentlemen, because I saw their logo on the shoulder. And that little person, they were ordering them around.
They're using these kids.
Now that's a conclusion that you're jumping to, my friend Cheyenne, and I'm just saying what I saw out in them plains. One little child, dressed to the nines, working with the PRISM Company. Make of that what you want. Manzanita.
She leans over to the saloon girl and slides her hand under the table and grabs the saloon girl's thigh pretty strongly. Do you like how I am grabbing your thigh?
I think I like it. It's new to me, but I like it.
Did you know that I can break your leg in 2 moves?
She says, now I don't know if that's a flirtatious thing or if it's a threat, but I gotta admit I'm a little turned on.
This man, he is going to hurt my family. I know you understand how to protect those who are important to you. I need your help to find him and take him down. You are a saloon girl. You must hear who comes through here. What can you tell me about his weaknesses?
Are you talking about this 10-cent man you're after?
Indeed, he's a very flashy mentiroso.
Well, now, if I were to say that I saw someone in particular, a lot of men pass through here, and some of them are a little bit less than savory. There was a man who passed through here, and he seemed to be in charge of them PRISM Company as the convoys went back between the mine and border town. He's somewhere here, maybe. The reality is, Miss Manzanita, he's bringing business to border town. He's bringing me new clients. I can't break my oaths. I can't run my tongue. Now, I don't know who you are, Miss Manzanita, but we gotta make a living here in border town. And you know, flag and tongue, that's a quick way to get broke, whether you break my leg or not.
I don't imagine you could do much work with a broken leg. However, I do understand the need to keep mouths fed. It is important to me as well.
She leans forward, she leans into you, and she says, like, I mean, what exactly did this 10-cent man do to you?
He's threatening my family. He knows where they are gone. I have paid for them to be safe, and he lied. They are not safe.
I mean, maybe if you just give him what he wants, maybe he won't be such a mean old man to you.
Well, indeed, but first I must find him.
I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say maybe he's near that old mine that's been set up, where they're digging for that red tar.
And is there anyone there with him besides the mine workers?
He's been working with someone that I saw come back and forth, not very high, on maybe 4 feet. I don't know them very well. They wear a mask, but they're either midget or like Lil.
He's wee man. He wears a mask, you say?
Yeah. Never takes it off.
Any others wearing masks?
Just the little one.
Solo el hijo. Sí. Thank you very much. You've been enjoyed to talk to. And she squeezes her thigh just a little bit and let's go.
Now, the wager is at 100 gold, unless anyone else wants to raise it higher. Prospector puts forward 100 gold and he says, all right, you yellow-bellied snakes. Let's see if you got the metal. Keep in on this one.
She's gonna look around the room. Does she notice like anything weird about anyone or any? And also, could I have heard any of the conversations that
We
happened?
can see if what you heard. Roll a perception check.
So 8 total.
8 total, so that's success at a cost. You have to choose what you want to, who in particular, what pair or group you want to listen to.
I think I'm curious about the saloon girl because I don't think she's as dumb. I think she seems like everyone else seems to has their agenda out in the open. She seems.
You listen to her, yeah, your estimation is correct. She's like playing dumb. And like when you notice like as she's talking to Manzanita that there's like a tell when she's lying. She like scratches the side of her dress reflexively and then puts her hands back together. But she always just like every time she's lying, and she was lying about not really having seen the 10-cent man and giving vague details about it.
Can I slap down another 50 gold on the table?
Raise the ante. The bartender's in, and the gunslinger's in, and the prospector's in.
Pierre is like, he's like struggling. If you look, he's not even trying to hide the amount of gold. He has 40 left, and he's like, oh, I really shouldn't, but oh, this is a game that I love. I love this game so much, and the money, it is, oh, I could win it all. He's gonna go all in. It's just 40, but like, yeah.
So how are you compensating for the remaining 60 gold? Are you gonna put
I
something
slammed
up?
the 60 gold on his money. I'm in for 160.
Pierre is in.
Fuck, you saved my life. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Fucking gold's not mine.
Drink my shot and just sit back.
Cheyenne folds. Manzanita?
This is too rich for my blood.
Manzanita folds. All right, let's do this final roll here. 13 is what I have.
Gave it to 14. Martha's got something to prove.
Okay, I rolled a 6. Another 6. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
So that sounds like Pierre won the final pot. There's 1,000 gold.
I'm gonna put my hand out to Pierre to get my 160 back. And I give you like a nice pat on the back. Good job, buddy.
The prospector takes a deep breath. Well, looks like these old strangers have got a lot of luck on their side. Now I wonder where you find gentlemen are planning to sleep here in the Blood Bucket, this corner board town, now that you got your winnings.
Apparently, you're as blind as you are fucking unlucky. Cause there's 3 fucking ladies here. Myself included, I'll give you the pass on that one. But that lady, she's pretty, I mean, both of them.
Now you sweet thing, Miss Connery, Manzanita and Cheyenne, I never seen women so clever. But here's the thing, you're taking coin that was company money. Coin that goes to regular old working folk, just trying to make a living on the mine. And you done swindle them. And that ain't a good look here in Border Town.
Well, I'll let you know I'm not a fan of the PRISM Company. So you can just take a step back and fuck yourself.
Now, Marte, I do beg a question. If it is company money, why were you gambling it in the first place? It seems that you are the swindlers, not us.
Now, my friend Pierre, these are desperate times. We don't get a lot of passers-by here through Border Town, so we gotta take every opportunity to raise that pot. And being as how I'm the one who staked the claim here in Border Town, I'm afraid you're gonna have to play another game to give us a chance to earn our winnings back, or you're gonna have to decide someplace else to sleep here in this dark, bright desert.
Well, with 840 coin, I think I could find myself a bed somewhere else.
And then he coughs a little bit because he's been smoking. He had put out his cigar. And he leans into his pocket and he pulls out this red handkerchief and dots his mouth. And he puts the red handkerchief on the table in front of everyone to see. And he says, I'm not so sure about that because there ain't a whole lot of vacancies here in Border Town. And there ain't any place to run. And now that I know what you all need, we're gonna have to come to terms. Now, there's a number of ways we can do this. We can do it real nice and easy, or we can do it real painful and slow. And you all feel under the tables like a very subtle movement, which you've all felt before because you've been in ruckuses. And that's the movement of people clicking guns and pointing them. And the prospector says, what do you all think about maybe a little duel between the besties?
Seems like a good way to open up some beds.
I like your thinking, Cannery. When I done buried your friends, and I done buried them alive, I had a lot of fun that day because, to be honest, that money you earned, that's PRISM Company money. And we got a lot of work to do out here in Middle Country with changing the world. You understand that, Martha?
Do you understand you're gonna have a lot of work? Sucking my cock that you presumed I had. You're lucky. Pretty ladies around right now. Fucking bash your face right through this table. Dime a dozen, man.
Sounds like, Martha, that you and I, we're gonna be the ones that do this duel.
Now, I do have one question that you might want to ask yourself. Now, did you hear 6 hammers click on the guns, or did you hear 7?
The doctor is in fact pointing his pistol at the prospector.
And then then Pierre slowly raises his gun that's underneath the table, and then he rests it like this. And he's just like, I am a baiting man, but I don't think the odds are in your favor, sir.
Well, we'll see about that. Miss Canary, I know underneath that exterior violence, drunken stupor, you got a code of ethics, and it's a strange one. So how about them duel? Make all your friends be safe, to walk away a hero if you like.
How about you fucking learn to speak and know it's cannery? Fucking cocksucker. I'll duel you.
Then I say 10 paces. On 1, on 2, and roll initiative. He pulls up a pair of revolvers, but they're weirdly glowing, like there's blue lights on them. So he pulls them up and he pulls his thumbs down. And so the revolver spins, and there's a hum as they're spinning.
So I mean, she's just pulling her shotgun down and like leaning into it, and it's a full-on gut blast, like all try to hit the berth and knock him back like in the wall, hopefully.
So you got him. So you shot him. Now what happens is the blast, the shotgun blast, like bursts the chair that he was standing on, and it hits him. Now when he fires, what happens is the shot goes off, and you'll make a defense check. But when he fires, his color disappears, and he disappears. And you hear a thud on the table as he at the back wall as he slams into it. He's become almost like Predator. He's become invisible. Manzanita and Pierre, you see that she bursts into flames, and you hear him say, "Now you better be careful because you'll burn the whole place down."
He's still invisible, right?
Yeah. In order to target someone who's invisibility, you need to spend some other sense detecting them for a turn before you can target them, unless you can think of a clever way to target them.
Like being a stalker?
Well, in that case, what is it What is it about your training, Manzanita, as a lawman that lets you see this person?
Her senses are so attuned to the vibrations of evil that she can see it as sort of a shimmering aura around folks.
All right, so when you hear that slam on the back of the wall, like you hear the splinters of the wood cracking, and you feel this evil presence there.
She's gonna shoot the invisible man, but in like the leg or the knee somewhere.
So you hear this blast, and there's like sparks, and you hear like a thump that you see that he's kind of kneeled down as you shot his leg. When you shot his leg, there's sparks and there's smoke that comes out.
Can I use my second attack to walk over and hit his weapon out of his hand?
So what happens is you go to smack at him, but you hear like a thump on the ground and a roll, and he's rolling away from you, basically, as you're smacking down in the area with it. So that was 4. Pierre.
I'm going to actually run over to Martha, and I'm like, oh, I'm always getting you out of trouble. And while I'm patting him down, is that my full action, or?
I could have done that myself. Fucking thank you.
His doctor is backing off towards the bar, and he's actually ducking below the bar. The gunslinger, she's still sitting at the table, and she has her gun on it, but it's a pepper box, and it has these barrels that spin. She's gonna fire him at Martha.
So no, I did not block that one.
So she's like, and just blowing up the table in the area, and there's smoke everywhere. The saloon girl, she backs up, leaps on the table, and she pulls out of her corset this tiny little revolver pistol, and she's gonna shoot Manzanita with it. We could have been best friends. She's like, and it like pops.
You can block it with your badge, possibly.
It's a 1!
Oh, so your badge hits it as sparks, and you turn to her, and she's like, well, god damn it, the good Lord protected you. All right, so that was the saloon girl. The bartender rushes back behind the bar. He pulls out a rifle on the bar, and he loads it, and he's gonna shoot Pierre.
That is 7.
7. You get nailed in the side, you take 4.
4, oh jeez, okay.
All right, and the schoolmarm, her mighty weight gets up. She loads her shotgun. She turns to Cheyenne, and she's just gonna blast you across the table. I need a defense check.
9.
So she blasts you with the shotgun. You fall out of your chair and stumble to the ground because of knockdown. You take 6. All right, so put you at 0. What that means is you're on death's door. Cheyenne is lying on the ground. At the end of the next turn, she will die if no one attends to her. You hear from the nothingness, you all, I told you, all you had to do is lay down them guns and walk out of this town. Now look at the mess you got yourselves in. PRISM Company's gonna make a real big difference out here. And then you hear footsteps across the room, and you hear a whirring as the weapon is reloading. And he's gonna shoot at Martha because she's the biggest threat to him. And there's a blast of energy as he blasts at you.
God damn it. Back on fire. God damn it.
Flagration. Manzanita. There's bullet holes, there's smoke everywhere, the table's been destroyed, the chairs are toppled, there's just gunshots everywhere.
So she is going to run over to Cheyenne. Can she drag Cheyenne behind the bar and administer some first aid there?
Und this is not what I expected from being part of the PRISM Company. And he's just like freaking out.
She just holds out her gun to his head and says, "You take care of him. You make sure he lives, or you die."
If taking up with you folk means that we will live, I will do it. And he's looking through his doctor's bag, and he pulls out a syringe and he just injects it into Cheyenne's heart. You regain 4 hit points and you're conscious. Do not shoot me! I can't be bought! Nice, and Cheyenne, roll an initiative now, because now you're in the action.
You see me load up a special bullet, and I aim it at the bartender, because he shot me.
Boom! He flies across out of the bar, hits the glass behind him, all the bottles topple down, and they topple on top of him, and there's just darkness and smoke coming out, and he's dead. And his rifle lands on the ground. Bartender's out of the action. Cheyenne, you're up. You see this bartender land behind the table. There's just shatters and bottles and alcohol everywhere.
I'm gonna load up a smoke cartridge and fire it where the prospector last was. 10.
10, all right, so you beat it. So he blasts the piano splinters into pieces. There's the tunes of the piano as it explodes, and there's an orb of darkness that comes out in that area. So what it's gonna do is gonna confer a disadvantage on anything he does because he's in darkness now, even though you can't see him. So you see the smoke coming out of the piano. The saloon girl sees the bartender fly and be smashed. She leaps down and she's running up the staircase to get out of the way of harm, and she's ducking down and she's just positioning herself to aim at you guys up there. The gunslinger, still sitting in her chair, reloads her pepper box and she starts loading it and firing at Pierre. So Pierre, I need a defense check.
I happen to see her out of the corner of her eye, and she aims at me, and I just like leap back and like toss up a chair so that
and it
her
gets
aim is,
broken
like,
into
disrupted.
bits.
Yeah.
Right, so there's smoke there.
Oh yes, that is the good stuff.
The schoolmarm whistles, and then you're hearing in the distance a little pitter-patter of feet. All right, kids, it's time to make these people understand you don't come to Border Town and mess around. So she summons her school children to fight you.
I'm on fire again.
Uh-huh.
My armor is fucked up. I'm fucking it. God damn. And I go and I hit my luxury item, which is a safety protocol that removes stats effects and adds me armor.
Fires out, you've 3 more AP restored. And it's like, she's just smoking.
You tricksy and I'm gonna start moving. I'm gonna use my movement to go towards her. I knew I wouldn't trust you, you fucking cocksucker. Sorry, no.
She's like, you
nothing
stay
against
right
the sex
there.
industry. It's
You
a
stay the
totally
hell
valid
away.
way to make money.
Don't you come up here. All right, Martha, you're face to face with the saloon girl. And her little pistol, a tiny little pistol, is like shaking as she has it on the staircase.
And I'm just gonna say, tell me the truth. Will you stand down?
Don't you hit me, I'm a girl.
Did she scratch her leg?
No, she's holding her thing and she's shaking.
Fucking drop that gun. You go upstairs and back to your room and think about what you done, young lady.
And she just rushes back the stairs, she drops the pistol, and she rushes up the stairs. All right, you got the schoolmarm whistled. You see the saloon doors are flapping. There's a bunch of kids coming in, and they got all kinds of makeshift guns. There's a little crowd of them coming in.
She's gonna try to grab the schoolmarm and like pull her arm behind her so that she's subdued.
All right, now the schoolmarm's a massive woman. She's like 6'2", 270 pounds.
Oh gosh, okay, so I rolled a 5, I've got 6 mighty. I think that's good enough, right? 11.
So you come by, you grab her arms behind her back, and you slam her to the ground. The kids are all squealing. They got the schoolmarm down, let's get her! And they're all just like, they're all charging forward, but you got her on the ground, you've restrained her, you've negated her action for this turn. And she has to break free of you to do anything. And she's like, dear, you should not be holding on to me, you're in for a world of pain.
I load up another one of those bullets in my gun. I aim it at her and I do gunslinger. It hits her and then
Darkness and smoke that goes around her. She flies across the room. She smashes into the stage, and she rolls around on the stage, and she slumps to the ground as you blasted her, and there's just darkness pouring up from her.
see, that was not the smart thing you did there. Never underestimate Pierre.
So, seeing that you just took out the gunslinger, the prospector, you hear his voice near you, and he says, now, Frenchmen, on the eastern coast, you guys don't fare so well, and it looks like your time has come.
Give me back my daughter.
Oh, I promise you, my friend, she's alive and well. Now I need you to make a defense check. You see her hum, and there's a blast as she shoots you. You're hit, you're blasted. The maleficence stings and burns on your flesh, and it's a venom maleficence. But you're poisoned, so you're gonna take another point next turn. That was his first blast. Second blast. You hear it, and then Manzanito, he's gonna shoot at you. There's another blast at you, I need a defense check. And he says, there ain't no need of law out here. All right, so in this case, I'm gonna hit you with sound. So you hear a reverberation, and it knocks you, like, it doesn't knock you over, you're still holding on to the school marm. When this sound wave blast hits you, how does your sheriff badge protect you?
Adios mio.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that as it was coming, she like turned and it hit the badge and just like blew backwards.
Nice. The fan comes spinning off, it crashes into the bar and breaks apart. Totally unaffected. That was the BBEG at 4. The foes. Gunslinger's dead. Saloon girl ran. Doctor's cowering in fear. Bartender's dead. The school marm's gonna try and break free. I need a contested mighty. So she shrugs you off. You stumble back. She gets up. She dusts herself off. She straightens her cross. And she says, you know, you teach that uncouth little girl lesson. And then all of her little kids are rushing towards you with their little spikes and guns, and they've got thumbtacks on wood. And they're like, let's get her! And they're just charging towards you. Now what I need you to do is make a defense check, because they're swarming all over you. They're gonna start stabbing you with little sticks and shit. Stab her till she stops moving! They're crawling, they grab it on your leg, and they're just stabbing you with thumbtacks and knives and like shanks that they have, pieces of sharp wood. Stab her good! Stab her all over!
I said no kids, and then I'm gonna shoot the school marm.
10, you hit her. What do you hit her with? How does this happen?
So I'm gonna shoot her center mass right in the chest with the revolver.
And you see the school marm's massive girth slams on the ground. There's like a rise of dust as she hits the dusty ground, and her cross flies into the air and clatters onto the wood, actually onto the fragments of the table. And all the kids squeal. They didn't shot the school marm! And they start screaming and running in all directions out of the Blood Bucket Tavern.
Going to walk over to the prospector. He's kneeling still, right?
Yeah, he hasn't been moving basically because his leg is sparking.
I'm just going to pick him up. I'm just going to say, Mira me pendejo, never threaten my family again. You forget everything that I've done for you and you disappear or I will come after you. And she's going to throw him into like a sack of flour or something, like the ground. She's going to try to just throw him so he's injured, but also that he can be covered in dust of some sort.
You actually grab them, you hurl him into these barrels, the barrels explode. There's this cloud of dust, he lands on the ground. Now you can see this sparking and you can see this form covered in dust. You can see him now, he's no longer invisible because of this. And he's rolling around in the dust, and it's clear that there's just smoke coming off of him, weirdly, smoke. And there's just sparks from different joints he's wearing. He's rolling around in the dust.
So now I see him out there, and I'm charging, raging. You son of it! I'm just gonna kick him in his head while he's down. Well, that explodes. Yep. That explodes again. So 6, 6, 1, 17. It's unarmed, so I don't have anything. Yeah, so 17.
And your boot kicks into his head. There's this flash of light because of you've broken off something, and suddenly he becomes visible. Prospector is lying on the ground. His eyes are glowing this unnatural hue because there's no pupils. Half of his face is ripped off. It's mechanical and it's sparking. Seems like he's on his last leg and he's lying there prone. His weapon has fallen onto the ground and it's glowing. It's this glowing mechanical revolver. And his flesh is torn off. It's kind of like a Terminator situation. This man is half machine.
I don't know what you are, but I want the last thing that you see to be a picture of my dog. Shooting him in the head.
So you just put your pistol right at his head. There's a smoke. There's this explosion of sparks. Just as his mechanical hand is reaching for that revolver, it drops flat. And his body goes slump and he starts sparking all over. And only his head is moving back and forth. And it's clear that he has no more control over his body. And we are now out of initiative.
Pierre runs past Cheyenne, sort of like pushes her to the side, grabs him, and he says, "Where is my daughter? You tell me where she is now."
Oh, Pierre, she's here. She's here. She's in the mine, but you don't understand. She's working for us now.
That's all well and good, but where's my money, you cocksucker?
When you say that, a panel in his chest pops open and then just coin falls out. And he's lying on the ground. There's a moment of stableness as his body starts to go dim and the light starts to go dim. And the head turns and looks up at you, Pierre, and he says, "Now, Pierre, PRISM Company never found a genius like your daughter. Never found a mind quite like it. And oh, pretty soon, you're gonna see the PRISM Company's true power." Any last words for the 10-cent man?
I would not waste words on this pile of garbage. And then he walks out.
And I would like to not be shot, if that is acceptable to you all.
You're right, Doc. Just see to my friend here. I point to Cheyenne.
So he goes over to you and he says, "I've already hit you with some steroid in your heart. If I do that again, it will explode. So, I do have this cocaine, but it's from the... So if you would like some..."
She's just already, like, got it out of his hand and snorts it.
You gain 6 MP. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to get on the horse and leave the border town and never come back. We've closed this chapter of Game of Faro, and we're moving into the final chapter, a showdown at high noon. The Blood Bucket Tavern is a blood bucket right now. It's a mess. You've ruined this place.
Search his fucking bodies, because God knows what he might have on him.
So you're searching through his body, you find on his person what looks like this cube that seems like it has holographic faces, and you find a little journal on his body.
Open up the journal and flip through it and start.
So this appears to be research notes, but the notes are not written by the 10-cent man. They seem to be a journal. Pierre, what's your daughter's name?
Abigail.
Abigail. Now, Abigail, she was smart for her age. 10 years old, the girl knew how to write better than most literate folk. And in fact, she knew a lot about science and all them mechanical arts. What you find in this journal is her attempts to translate the old people Sanskrit. Now, out there in the desert, there are these people who've been living there longer than all of us civilized folk, if you could even call us civilized these days. They believe, according to what she translated, that since we've been tapping into this red tar out in middle country, we've opened a bit of a Pandora's box. And what she found, this Abigail, is that the old people believe we've woken up something real angry, real wrathy, and it's coming to get us in all of our capitalizing ways. Now this red tar, according to little Abigail, now it's the blood of the ancient spirits in the earth, and it's washing all over as we open it up. Now, when she was taken by the 10-cent man, they brought her into a research facility, and they taught her some of the eastern seaboard's ways, and they had her make for them this real big machine, and this machine is called the Daybreaker. And on top of that, they learned that the more they tap the red tar, those strange things wander around in the daylight that go invisible under the rays of the sun. They're called sunwalkers. And they're the ones who've been tearing people apart on the road, all pissed off that we opened up their old caves, all pissed off that we're tapping and draining this world dry. And if you had to guess from looking at that journal, seems like PRISM Company's principal fuel is the sunwalkers themselves. And so, from this you learn that Abigail, the genius that she is, was the principal architect between a machine called the Daybreaker that is in PRISM Company's control, and that may very well be here.
Looks like we found your daughter.
Indeed, it seems like there are more wrongs to be righted.
I'll be along for the ride.
Well, fucking hey. Guess we got a posse.
My daughter, she is just a stone throw away from her intelligent dad. I would be proud, if not terrified, that she was kidnapped.
As you're handling the holographic cube, you see that it lights up when you touch one of the faces, and you see a picture of Dead Man's Butte. The schematics seem to indicate the interior dimensions of Dead Man's Butte, a hollowed out geological structure just outside Borgtown. Dead Man's Butte, according to this diagram, contains a red tar site that the Prospector had taken claim at.
I know of this place well. It is within viewing distance. I mean, it is a massive landmark. When my daughter was small, she used to call it Dead Man's Butt. She did not know how to say the word butte. It was adorable.
pretty fucking funny. You're fucking French. You can't say fucking butte.
Well, of course I can say butte. Butte is a French word. She was 2 years old.
Slaps you on the back really hard.
And he swallows the cigarette he was smoking.
The sun is going down and you're in luck because it's a day's journey and you can possibly make it there overnight unmolested by potential sunwalkers. But on that journey, Saddleback, you take some horses from Border Town, which are given to you because at the moment now you're the law in Border Town. You head across the broken plain. You can see in the distance when you leave Border Town plumes of red smoke coming out of Dead Man's Butte, some miles distant. As the nightfall comes, you hear in the distance tremors and roaring of the earth hissing and steam coming out of the earth. You hear the tearing of metal all the way down to Dead Man's Butte. So for this downtime, the question I ask of you, and you're gonna have to speak to another character in your posse here, is what are you gonna do when all this is over?
So, lovely lady, what is it that you would like to do when this is gone? I think I might resettle back to that town. It is with my daughter, and after her mother died, I went ahead and we settled into a small cabin out into the middle of the desert. But judging that there is no place safe, I think it would be better if we go back to town where at least we could build some alliances.
At least you have a family to go back to. I don't know if I could ever return to mine. My daughter, she wouldn't even recognize me.
So Manzanita, she don't know where she's gonna go back to. Home's behind her, home's in front of her, maybe home's right where she is.
So, deal with that firearm of yours. It seems pretty powerful. Seems like you fucked some shit up.
Yeah, I picked it up along the way.
Seem to know how to use it quite well then. Pick it up along the way.
I pointed and I pulled the trigger.
Every day I wake up and try to figure out how to make it to the end of the next. What's your plan?
I kind of just look off into the sunset. So just kind of point off to that and say, that's my plan.
As Cheyenne looks off with her 1,000-yard stare, something opens up in her heart, but we can't say what, because Cheyenne has a mission. She has a place to go. For her, the road never ends. Manzanita, who are you talking to?
I reckon there's no home for folks like us. What do you imagine you'll do after this?
I'll probably keep on keeping on. Like you said, there's no settling down for us.
I might be obliged to keep you company on the road if you'd have me.
I could always use a little company.
Right there in that moment, with the danger of the sun coming up and waking up them sunwalkers, posse was forming. Posse out here in middle country. 2 women, 3 women, and a Frenchman. And even if that old man went back to Border Town, them posse, they might be able to change the eastern seaboard once and for all.
So can I kind of just look around and then talk to no one? Now I'm a simple woman. Give me a good dog. Give me a good group. And this ain't the best group, but this certainly ain't the worst group. I think something could happen here. I just kind of, fade back a little.
In Cheyenne's head, she didn't see 3 other posse mates. She saw 3 dogs. 3 dogs that could be loyal. Cause a dog to Cheyenne, one more loyal than a man. A dog will follow you to the ends of the earth. That's what you need in a posse. Man's best friend. And so, as our group rides to the rising sunset to Dead Man's Butte, you see at the foothills of Dead Man's Butte the red tar, like lava boiling on the foothills, pouring down the hills like the blood of the old people. What you see at the entrance, there's scaffolding that wraps around this mountain. The scaffolding goes to the peak, but ahead of you as well, there's a massive opening carved out of this rock, made by men. It seems to you there's 2 pathways into this place. Into the dark or up the scaffolding to the peak. And you know at the top somewhere there's an antenna, but inside its heart, only the dark can say. What are we doing?
I'm gonna fucking just go right up and fucking kick those motherfuckers right in the fucking face.
There's a kind wisdom in her words. Fuck shit up straight away, yes. I think it is a quote for all time.
You ride into the 20-foot opening, this massive blown open hole in the face of Dead Man's Butte, or should we say it's crack. You enter into the darkness, you're engulfed by its opening, and when you're inside, you come upon the entrance of the mine. And in the mine, there is a cart rail. What you see piled in these carts, there's several tracks leading down a dark tunnel. Piled in these carts is red stone coated with the red tar. Boils, it's radioactive.
Can I walk up and tilt the cart to empty it out of whatever could be in it so we can jump in?
Please make a mighty check.
So yeah, 11.
Great. When you topple over this red tar, you feel like heat, like pushing through you. But your very drunk physiology resists this radiation and you pour it all out.
Fucking crew doesn't clean up. Fucking leaving it on to the next person. What the fuck?
You throw the switch and you're gonna go on in. The cart plummets into the darkness. The light from the outside disappears and you're in pitch black. And it's like a roller coaster ricketing down. It's a and so you're starting to slide down. It twists and it turns. Then it kind of stops into a junction. It's starting to be pulled up. Up and up and up and into the heart of Dead Man's Butte. Who is in the front? Manzanita? I need a perception check.
I rolled a 5, so I have 8.
Okay, so I was looking for an average, which is a 7. So you've passed this one. What you see is it goes and then you hear and suddenly the cart starts to tip forward and you're noticing that the rail was being pulled up, but there's like a gap and it's starting to tip forward into this gap. What are you guys doing? And so it's like, imagine yourself being pulled up a roller coaster, but suddenly there's a gap in the rails and it's pulling you forward and you're gonna fall into this gap.
I'm gonna pull way back on the cart, yeah.
All right, so what I'm gonna need for you, it's gonna be tricky because you're balancing your weight with also not falling off, so it's at least a 9.
We just said I need a 9.
Uh-huh.
I got an 8. Fuck!
Oh boy. All right, so you tilt it back, you think you got it righted, but then what happens is your foot slips and you kind of bunk into the side of it, and you're like, you shake your head, but then the whole thing tilts sideways and it falls into the gap. So the thing is falling now down into the chasm, and it's crashing against the rocks, and everyone's falling out of the rocks, and you're stumbling and crawling down on like red tar and stone. So everyone is going to take falling damage. Ooh, that's quite bad. It's real bad. Everyone takes 6.
Oh shit.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. So kind of as I fell, I grabbed onto a root hanging out.
Right? As you're holding onto this, everybody else kind of falls down.
And then it kind of gracefully dropped down to the
Right, so you
ground.
take no damage. You have no fate point now. All right, so you're all in the dark now. The cart goes. I want Martha to make a perception check.
Yeah. The fact that Pierre got hurt is like really
He's
upsetting.
slumped. You see him on
fucked
the
it up.
ground. There's like dust pouring down on them.
His hat even fell off.
All right, so you hear click, 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 the sound of barrels loading.
Who the fuck's out there? We're armed as well.
You hear poof, poof, poof. Make a defense check, please. Just you. So poof, you see bullets sparking off of the area around you. You're being shot at from somewhere in this facility. Now, as the bullets flash, for a moment, you can see that the rail, like as the hill that you guys have fallen on, the rail kind of ahead of you goes down and then goes open into an opening where there's a dim green glow, but it's pitch black otherwise. And there were momentary flashes of people shooting at you. Posse done found themselves in a sticky situation.
So since Manzanita can see in the dark, what can she see anything around us?
When you're looking up, you can see that there are 3 men, 2 on one side, 1 on the other, on the like cliff edges above you. They're leaning down, they have hats on, and they've got rifles pointed down at you. And as soon as they shot, they're getting up now, and they're starting to run towards that green opening.
I'm gonna hold my action and remain lifeless on the ground.
Oh fuck Pierre! Fuck! And I'm gonna stabilize Pierre. So can I use a consumable to hit him with an adrenaline shot?
I thought someone was feeding me an English breakfast.
You're not gonna get away without sharing with me, pal. Fucking get up here.
You can hear their footsteps, Manzanita, and they're receding away from you. They took a shot, and they're making their way into that green opening. It's about a counter distance away.
You fuckers couldn't hit the fucking side of a barn with that fucking shit. Maybe you should fucking try tomahawks next time.
The place is shaking now. There's like a tremble throughout, and there's dirt crawling down the walls, and it's shaking. It's like almost like an earthquake. It's like, all right, and you're back in. So you pass into this green glow. You enter the heart of Dead Man's Butte, big green glowing machine, and you realize that this place has been carved from the inside out. Now before you is this massive vat/chamber with all kinds of technological gadgetry around it. And inside that chamber, there's this figure swirling. It's black and green in the shape of a person almost. And at the foot, so it's about 15 foot tall tube. Lots of machinery around it, knobs and switches and control panels. Everything's shaking. At the very foot of it, you see this little person wearing a gas mask. Long hair. They look back at you and they're fiddling with levers. And you see there are 3 men beside them. And these 3 men, when you look upon them and they tilt their heads up, you can see that they're all machine. And they're all in jeans. Just Canadian jeans. And they've each got rifles. And they look back, the little child looks back to you, and she says to you, Pierre, "Now, Daddy, you shouldn't have come out here. It's not safe for you." You see her mask's glowing a blue color.
What have they done with you? You even lost your accent.
She says, "They made it better. That's what happened. Listen, we're heading home now. This whole place, gonna light it up. We're gonna make Border Town something special. It's all about to go down, Pierre."
Home is with me, and you call me father. You call me papa.
"You only held me back. PRISM Company showed me the way. This big machine. We're gonna change the world. We're gonna crush the Eastern Seaboard, one building at a time." And she flips the switch. Now the place starts to shake. What you see is the glass surrounding this greenish and blackish tube. This tube slides up, and you see this figure, black void it's made of, almost black and green boiling energy. As soon as the tube slides up, the figure disappears. Partially. There's lighting in the room. It seems to like partially disappear, and it's sliding out, and you're still seeing it. But as the room is shaking, everything is crunching, and it's like an earthquake, and the walls start to split and break. And it seems like the whole place is moving. And suddenly, the very walls of Dead Man's Butte start to fall and collapse. And you're seeing sunlight coming in from above. Because Dead Man's Butte, the actual mountain, is crumbling apart. And beneath you, you can see that the earth is breaking, and it's not sand and dirt you're standing on, but girders of metal. And you're starting to see as the earth falls away, you're hundreds of feet in the air, but you're standing on these girders and the light is blinding because you're in broad daylight. And as the daylight comes down, this being coming out of the tube disappears completely. And what you realize now is you're standing on top of this enormous machine. You are standing on one of its legs, nearest to its core. And it starts to raise its legs and clamber into the ground, and it starts to move out. It will reach Border Town in 3 turns. And she says, "Now, Daddy, that 10-cent man, he be crooked, but I'm telling you, he had something in his head that made sense. You can come on over and we can finish this thing. Abandon your posse. Join me."
No, they have corrupted you. They have turned you against me. They have changed you to the core, and I will not stand for this. Yeah, he gets this little mouthpiece and puts it in his mouth, and he starts blowing into it, and it emits a sonic pulse at it. I'm casting Word of Reckoning at her.
Ooh, that sounds like an initiative. And the showdown at high noon kicked into high gear. Everything's shaking as it goes a Dead Man's Butte as this massive machine is moving into the sunset. You see these clockwork denim-clad gentlemen reloading their guns, scattering along the control panels, dipping down to take cover to shoot at you all. But we have Manzanita and Cheyenne shooting first. Manzanita, what's happening?
And puts her hand on Pierre's shoulder as the other sort of parent in the group. She says, A parent should not have to kill their child. Perdóname. And she takes her gun out and she aims at the kid.
Now this kid's little and wiry, and as soon as she sees that gun come out, she dives for cover. I rolled a 6. It's a 9 plus a 6 is 15.
Dang. I used my 3 to explode. So I'm at 13. I exploded again. So I'm at 17 total.
She's like diving between the controls spark, but then you nick her. And she rolls over and she gets hit by this blast. What damage does this do?
It's 5.
So what you see is when you blast her, she's wearing this like, it looks like a bodysuit. So the image shows she has a gas mask on, but she's wearing this bodysuit. And when you hit it, it glows as if there's like energy wrapping around it. It kind of goes. The machine is just like diving forward. It's like making that day's travel in 3 minutes.
I really hate denim. And I'm going to declare my luxury item. And it's going to be like a red tar, like kind of homemade bomb, rickety looking thing. I'm going to throw it at the denim guys.
The thing rolls over between them. It clicks. The shrapnel blasts into them. You see clockwork heads popping off of their heads. The denim hats are spinning. And there's just a poof of explosions as mechanical body parts fly everywhere. All 3 of them blow up. She rolls over and she looks at you and she says, "Now, Daddy, this ain't right. You're supposed to be on my side."
So when I blow into it, it starts whirring up and it starts shooting a pulse at her, kind of like a sound gun type of thing.
"Daddy, I hate that song. I hate it." And she's just grabbing her head and kneeling now in front of the controls. So my foe's exploded, but there's still a foe out there. So as she's screaming, she says, get him, make him pay." And then you hear behind you, Pierre. I need you to make a defense check. So you're seeing then, Manzanita, what you're seeing is just a blur of light, and you can feel heat like moving around, and you see this blur, it's behind Pierre right now. And it's towering, it's like 12 feet tall. I need a 10.
Okay. Oh, now it's a 1. Oh no!
You critically failed? 2?
I got 2 1.
Well, you know.
Sorry, Pierre.
You go to shoot it. Now you shoot it. Now when you shoot, you realize the bullet goes through this thing and into the air, and you're like, what the hell? The mundane weapon does not harm it. And then what you see is as this wave of heat comes by, it smacks your gun and your gun explodes. And then you're flung into the air off of the leg. And so now you're falling off of the leg of this thing, down hundreds of feet. So you have to deal with that in a second. So that was your attack against it. Now it's coming down on Pierre. Oh, I rolled a 6. That's a 16. And it's like... Pierre, you're smacked to the ground, you catch on fire. You take 1, but you're on fire.
I want to declare a cheat of, it's basically a bungee that I hold, and I'm going to dive for her to grab her.
Manzanita would be nothing more than a pancake. She landed all the way down there.
All right, I did not critically fail, but I think I'm going to use a fate point. What I'm going to say is that as I'm going and I'm reaching, I know I'm not going to catch her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's just out of your reach. Mm-hmm.
I want to say, though, that as that's happening, I'm like reaching for her. The part of the leg actually comes up and catches underneath her, and like she gets caught in a hook.
You're clinging to this platform as the thing is moving up and down at this moment. So your fate point is let you hold on, not fall to your death.
And she just hears, "God damn it!"
I'm like, fucking shit.
You hear a torrent of wind, a roar like a jet engine behind you, but it's everywhere. That's what you hear. Now, Daddy, this could be real easy. This can be real easy. You just tell your friends to stand down. We'll flatten Border Town. We'll flatten the East Coast. Middle country will be born again. You see that she's floating a little bit.
Sweetie, I am sorry. Daddy must put you to sleep. And then he loads one of his special bullets and then shoots her.
She tumbles back to the ground, hits against the platform. She's grabbing at her gas mask. She pulls it off, and she's trying to rub her eyes. She can't see.
So is there some sort of like central engine or?
Yes. There's a bunch of controls where the girl is standing. One of the levers is pushed forward. Some of them are sparking because you've been shooting near them. And in the middle of it is that tube that's now empty. But there's lots of controls there.
So I'm gonna chamber an explosive round and just fire it straight into the controls.
So I started blasting. Now what's this explosive round you're putting in there?
Yeah, electricity's good. Yeah, let's try it.
All right. So give me a 7 to hit your mark. It's an average roll.
14.
14. So tell me, you look down the barrel of your gun, what precise things do you hit on this control panel?
So anything that looks like it would control the legs.
Oh, okay. So you blast, well, you see a schematic that it's like spinning one of those old 3D like spline green and black like panels, and you blast it, the electricity surges through the panels, and then you see 2 of the legs turn underneath, and you look down, and the thing is like tumbling forward, and it's like dragging against the ground. The other legs are going like this, and now it's like dragging and turning uncontrollably in the direction it's going. You've slowed it down. It seems like another hit like that, you might be able to take out its locomotive system completely.
And I look at Manzanita, you're gonna do a lot better than me up there. And I'm gonna throw it to her, and my idea is I'm gonna try to help her with her movement to shoot her up to the top.
The little girl is blinded. You see that she puts her hands together, and there's like a blue like spark, and she slams the ground around her. And there's this ripple of metal, and she hits the ground of force. So who is standing nearby? We've got Pierre and Cheyenne, right? You're too far away, Martha, I think. So what I need is you guys to make a defense check. You're just like, no, Daddy, it can't go down this way.
I'm gonna play to her emotions in this regard.
And Pierre thought to himself, was this the end for his daughter? Or was there a chance of salvaging what little girl was inside?
After you were born, your mother, she held you and she whispered to you, you will do great things. But this is not what she wanted. You are dishonoring her memory. You are devastating the family name. The Abigail, you are my daughter. You should not dishonor your mother.
So it sounds like you're making an emotional play, so it's a def check. Add whatever you can to it. 9. Okay, so that's success at a cost. Okay. So I'm gonna give you a choice between 2 options. Let's see. You're telling her not to dishonor her mother's name. The mother who's passed away, who she loved. But she really wants to crush the eastern seaboard. So, I gave you 2 options. Either she pulls a knob to set this machine to self-destruct, or she breaks part of the controls so that its direction cannot be changed.
She breaks the steering wheel.
She like drops to the ground. The reverberation, because you said that, like she pulls the energy that she smashes the ground back up into her. That's the value of your fate point not harming you. And her hands are shaking with energy. And she says, fine, you had to bring mother into this. And she just smashes her hands on the panel. So what this does is it completes the attack that you were doing, Cheyenne. And the other legs break off, like they just spark and explode. And the thing crashes. And now that headpiece that you're all standing on crashes into the dirt. And it's just charging forward towards Border Town. And you can see Border Town fast approaching as you guys are tumbling, like careening toward with the legs just broken off, and the whole of the Daybreaker is careening forward. So now on this, Manzanita can go, but on this last turn, before that, how are we gonna save Border Town? Manzanita, last turn of this round. You're literally in the air at this point. You see the whole thing is careening through the ground, like tumbling and crashing.
Can she declare as her luxury supply some sort of like, so she's a survivalist, so she has all these traps and snares and things like that, and perhaps a very large magnet. Can she use a consumable supply like a lasso or something and a large magnet and throw it on to sort of fritz this thing out?
And then Manzanita, unclipping from her belt this ancient magnet from the old people, looked to herself and said,
Adios! We must catch this varmint. She's just gonna throw it.
So she's gonna throw it at the Sunwalker then, that only you can see. Alright, so go ahead and make that attack with advantage. I rolled a 2. The Sunwalker only has a 5, so that's a 7 total.
Alright. So that is 17.
So this magnet slams into the Sunwalker. Suddenly it becomes visible to you of its green and black void. The magnet pushes it back into the tube. And so it hits the tube, it clatters around in there, and the tube goes down, and it seals. As that's happening, the core electrifies, and what happens as a result of that is the whole thing, this electrical field, starts to slow it down as the Sunwalker repowers the core. So thanks to Cheyenne getting rid of the legs, and then ultimately the second half of those legs going down, pushing the Sunwalker back in, closing it up, the little girl smacks to the ground as this electrical field comes out and EMP pulses the whole area. The machine turns in the dirt. You're all grabbing on for dear life and holding on as it's spinning and spinning. And it comes literally within feet of the rickety sign of Border Town. Its leg taps the sign, and the sign slides up and down Border Town and drops down to the ground. But this massive hulking edifice, this horrible broken machine, is now just sitting before Border Town, dormant, the Sunwalker trapped again in the glass. And you have stopped the Daybreaker from crushing the small little town. What were the posse's last words?
You know, maybe people ain't so bad.
Buen hecho, compadres. Let's go. What's our next adventure?
You hop down onto the dirt before the broken Border Town sign, Pierre and Martha.
And she just kind of like looks down and like spits at it.
Every day takes figuring out all over again how to fucking live. Fucking let's grab a drink.
The little girl, pulls off her gloves in front of you, Pierre. And she says, Daddy, I think I done wrong.
Ah, ma fille, it is all right. We shall now go home and forget about this day. And he picks her up and he starts trying to find a way off.
And with that, my friends, we have reached the conclusion of Fear the Light.
Yay!